So it's wine time, and it's Wine Time Tuesday. So last week I did a little video to let you know I was going to be doing this special thing today, this little experiment. And if you wanted to join in, you could get all your little items ready. If you're not ready, that's fine too. You can watch and learn, and you can always replay the video and join in and try it yourself later on. So what we're going to do today is I often talk about my wine glasses. So when I'm tasting wine, I'll say, oh, this is my, Merlot glass, this is my Chardonnay glass, whatever. And it really does make a difference in the taste of the wine. And really, unless you try it for yourself, it's hard to believe that that is a fact. But it really is a fact. And so I always think of it like if you're looking through the lens of a camera, and you can look through murky lenses, or you can look through very clear lenses. If you're listening to music, if you love music, you can listen on inexpensive, maybe not so great speakers, or really, really high-end speakers, and it makes a difference in how you appreciate the music. So it's the same thing with your wine. So it really does make a difference to drink certain wines out of certain glasses to get the full effect, the full aroma and flavor of the wine. And so today we're going to do Oaked Chardonnay. And so what I have here, and you can join along, this is an Oaked Chardonnay glass from Riedel. Now, you probably don't have this exact glass, but what you need is a glass that has got a big round bowl and a big wide opening. So if you don't have an Oaked Chardonnay glass, you could maybe use a red wine glass. You can see it's still round and open at the top. It's not quite exactly the same, but it's close. Or even the small one has still a wide bowl and a wide opening. It would give you a similar idea. Then I have my little white wine tasting glass. These are the tasting glasses like you get at the wineries. They're very small, small opening at the top. And if you don't have a little tasting glass, you can use like maybe a white wine glass. You just want something that's narrow and narrow at the opening. I even said if you wanted to use, maybe a lot of people have these little stemless glasses. You just need something that's more cylindrical with a smaller opening. And then you need your plastic cup. So you can buy these, a whole pack of these for $1 at the Dollar Tree. You might have some of these lying around. It's better if it's clear because you can see the wine, but if you have a red Solo cup or something, that would work as well to get the same idea. So then your wine, we're using Clos Du Bois Chardonnay. This is a California Oaked Chardonnay. The main thing is you want an Oaked Chardonnay, but this you can buy at almost any store in town. I got this one at CVS for $10.99, so it's not really expensive, and it's accessible for everyone. But if you don't have this particular one, if you find an Oaked Chardonnay, if you read the tasting notes on the back, a lot of times they'll have, if it mentions butter and toasty oak, which this one does, it literally says hints of butter and toasty oak. So that's when you know it's oaked, because that's oaky and buttery is what you get a lot of times. That's what putting the Chardonnay in oak creates. So this glass really brings that out, and these won't enhance those flavors as well. So take your wine and pour a little bit into each of your glasses. So just as you get to the wider point is fine in each glass, and of course in the cup you just need a little. So just pour a little bit in each of your glasses. That's how you want to start. Then what we're going to do is we're going to start with aromas, and then we're going to go for tasting. Okay, so let's take the glass, the Oaked Chardonnay glass, or your big glass with the bowl, and we're going to swirl. So give that a swirl, and that's going to bring out the aromas. And give it a sniff and see what you're getting there. Okay, so you should be getting maybe some citrus, maybe some apple, but definitely you should be getting oak and butter. And it takes time to get used to the fragrances. So we're going to put that down, and we're going to pick up our little tasting glass. So swirl that around and then give that a sniff. Does it smell the same to you? Because I don't get nearly the strength. I'm still getting a citrusy, but not as much of the oak, and definitely not the butteriness in this glass. Okay, now try the cup. So give that a little swirl. And I get very little at all aroma out of this. I mean, it's very, very small amount of aroma I'm picking up on this. I think it's really diminished in this cup. I really hate drinking wine out of plastic. It drives me crazy. Okay, so now we're going to go back and we're going to also taste. But first, pick up this glass And don't swirl, and just sniff. You probably get some aromas, but not a lot. Now swirl. And if you're afraid to swirl in the air, you can set your glass down and just swirl it on the table like this, because you want to really get it moving in there. That's why you don't feel it very full when you're tasting. Okay, now we're going to taste. So when you taste, you want to take a sip and you want to roll it all the way around in your mouth before you swallow. Almost like you're chewing it. Okay? Now you should have really gotten a lot on that. If you aren't sure, you can give it another taste. If you were doing a official tasting, you would be spitting this out. But we're doing this for fun, so you can swallow it. We're going to be drinking some wine. So try it one more time. Okay, so those flavors should have really coated your mouth. Now let's go back to our little tasting glass. So sniff it without swirling, and then give it a swirl. So you can either do it in the air or do it on the table. That does stir up some more aromas. Still not what you got out of this glass, I'm pretty sure, but a little more. Do your tasting. I'm not getting nearly as much of the flavors that I was picking up in here. And see if you find that to be the same. And then we're going to go to our plastic cup. Again, just take a sniff. It's really not much going on there. Now let's give it a swirl. And still, I can pick up very little aroma in this cup. I find this always to be the same no matter what the wine is in a plastic cup. But let's give it a taste. This, to me, is by far less enjoyable even than this, but certainly this. So put this down and go back to your original, the proper glass. And let's give it one more swirl now. Now, having done these two really close together, you should have really picked up the differences. Now, what I find is fun is, if you find that you're not a big fan of Oaked Chardonnay, you might enjoy drinking it out of one of these other types of glasses, because it does tone down those flavors. But if you really like the full experience of this wine, then hopefully you found that this did make a difference. And you can do this with different wines, and I'll be doing some other little tutorials. I'll pick some reds and some different whites to show some different types of glasses and how it affects your drinking as well. But I do think hopefully you picked up a little bit of difference, even if it was subtle. The more you do this, the more comfortable you'll become, and the more you'll be able to really also pick out what you're tasting and smelling. It takes some practice. But hopefully this gave you at least a little bit of a hint of how different your wine can be enjoyed in the different types of glasses. And so if you got a chance to do this, I hope you enjoyed it. If not, come back later and take a look and try this again with me, and we'll be doing some more of these tutorials later on. It is wine time. Cheers.